Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel.
Where and when to see Japan's cherry blossom? Join the locals this spring in the traditional custom of hanami, enjoying the cherry tree blossom. The springtime blossoming of the sakura, cherry blossom trees, is such a big deal in Japan that its meteorological office has a service dedicated to forecasting the first blooms. There are daily reports on them on the national news, and festivals are held in their honor across the country. There's even a name for the singular pastime of enjoying those delicate flushes of pink, hanami, literally, flower viewing. As soon as the flowers open on the trees, family and friends gather beneath them for picnics and sake, turning parks and gardens into sites of mass outdoor celebrations. When do cherry blossoms bloom in Japan? Every year is different and there are variations across the country. Every year is different and there are variations across the country. What's more, there are multiple sakura varieties, each coming into flower at a slightly different time and lasting for a different period. Most stay for around 2 weeks. The earliest blooms tend to appear in tropical Okinawa in January, the last on the northernmost island of Hokkaido in early May. This year, the Met Office predicts that Tokyo will see its first flushes of pink on March 23. For peak pink in the main tourist spots, from the end of March until early April is a good bet. When does the Cherry Blossom Festival start? The very first festival to coincide with the country's first blooms, the Motobu-Yade Cherry Blossom Matsuril in Okinawa, is normally held sometime around mid-January to early February. Most festivals take place between March and May. It's hard to predict exactly when they might fall, but a good estimate is to see when they've occurred in the past 5 or so years and pick an average date from those. Whenever they take place, in addition to picnics and barbecues, you might expect to find live music, food and craft stalls, and tea ceremonies beneath the trees. What does hanami involve exactly? It's a huge sociable affair, with families, friends and colleagues, equipped with picnic boxes and blankets, gathering together under the trees to eat, drink and be merry. Popular spots will have stalls set up selling snacks and drinks. In the evening, the act of viewing cherry blossoms is called yazakura, with simple lights and lanterns laced into the branches so the flowers appear to glow in the dark. The event gets more raucous as the moon comes up and the sake slips down. Visitors are welcome to join the celebrations. Pack a picnic blanket and swing by a supermarket to pick up a spring-themed bento box, pancake meatballs, inari sushi, strawberries, red bean mochi, and some limited edition hanami-themed goodies, such as pink Sakura Pepsi, pink Kit Kats, and clear Asahi beer. Where is the best place to see cherry blossoms in Japan? You'll have no trouble finding a spot to indulge in the custom of hanami, with sakura found in over 1,000 locations across the country. Yoshino, Kansai, this is probably Japan's most famous cherry bloom destination. The blossoms of over 30,000 sakura carpet the key mountains surrounding the town, with the season tending to start in late March. The star of the show is on Mount Yoshino, a huge cherry tree, whose branches bow towards the ground. It's illuminated from dusk until midnight. 2. Himeji Castle, Kansai. The white walls of the 14th century UNESCO-listed Himeji Castle provide the perfect backdrop for the 1,000 cherry trees that burst into life around it. The first blooms normally appear from late March. 3. Fuji 5 Lakes, Chubu. These striking lakes form an arc around the base of Mount Fuji and are a beautiful location for hanami. A popular way to experience the season is to spend the day in an onsen, hot spring, and view the blooms while lolling in the warm waters. The resort town of Lake Kawaguchi is an excellent choice. Arrive early in the morning to gaze up through the mist at Mount Fuji framed by glorious blossoms. Early April is a good time to visit. 4. Hirosaki Castle, Tohoku, one of the prettiest spots for cherry blossom viewing in the country. This ancient 3-story castle is surrounded by a fortified moat and a huge tree-lined park that hosts illuminations in the evenings. Look to visit from late April. 5. Tokyo, there's no shortage of cherry blossoms in Tokyo. One of the most popular, and rowdy, spots is Ueno Park, home to 1,000 cherry blossoms, as well as museums, shrines and ponds. During the 2-week season, from late March, a 4-kilometer stretch is illuminated from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Take a walk and graze as you go on noodles and sticky rice balls from food stalls. For a less crowded experience, head to the English Garden in Shinjuku Gyoen, which has rolling lawns perfect for picnicking. Or partake in some nighttime viewing with a stroll along the banks of the Nakameguro canals. Don't miss the magnificent flowering along the Kidorigafuchi moat, near the Imperial Palace. 6. Kyoto, the ancient capital, is the epicenter of sakura season, with blossoms appearing from the end of March to early April. Try Maruyama Park, where the main event is a tall Shitarazakura, weeping cherry tree, illuminated at night, the Philosopher's Path, a canal path lined with hundreds of cherry trees. Or the tree-lined Kamo River Promenade. Want to beat the crowds? Make for Yamashina, in the southeast of Kyoto. You'll find nearly 700 trees lining the canals, and far fewer tourists. In Arashiyama district, east of Kyoto, a really unique way to see the cherry blossoms is to ride the Sagano Scenic Railway, which passes through a tunnel of sakura. Jump aboard from March onwards. Matsumi Park, Hokkaido. Matsumi Park is home to Japan's northernmost castle and is a lovely spot for the sakura. 250 varieties of blossom, on 10,000 trees, stretch long into the season from about late April, their wooden name tags claiming their time in the spotlight. It's especially magical at dusk when the castle is illuminated. 8. Kyushu, one of Japan's most southerly islands, Kyushu is a good place to head for a less crowded and thoroughly authentic hanami fix. There's no more spectacular setting than the grounds of its Kumamoto Castle, where hundreds of trees lead up to its hilltop gates, bursting into bloom around mid-March. 9. Miharu, Tohoku, stay off the beaten track and ahead of the pack by heading to Miharu, about 2.5 hours north of the capital by train. With sensational displays until the end of April, the city's peach, plum and cherry trees all blossom simultaneously. Miharu means 3 springs, and it's the home of the astonishing 1,000-year-old Takazakura, the waterfall cherry tree. When is the best time to book a holiday to see the cherry blossom? Sakura season commands top prices. For the best deals, book as soon as flights go on sale, about 11 months ahead. Independent travel in Japan is pretty straightforward. But cherry blossom season is an exception. Hotel rooms can be scarce and prices rise steeply, so, again, book at least 10 months in advance. If you are set on visiting Kyoto, a major hub of cherry blossom viewing, consider day tripping from Osaka. Trains from Tennoji Station reach Kyoto in 55 minutes, and there are lots of low-budget hotel options. Why is cherry blossom season so important in Japan? Sakura has been the subject of nationwide adoration since the Heian period. More than 1,000 years ago, 794 to 1,185. The short, enigmatic emergence of the blooms is seen as more than just a chance to admire some pretty petals. It is a meditation on life, death, renewal and the ephemeral nature of being. You'll find it celebrated in Japanese literature, poetry and art, scrolled into the swords of samurai, and used as the symbol of fallen soldiers, new beginnings and friendship. Which books and movies will get me in the mood? The 11th century masterpiece The Tale of Genji is often referred to as the world's first novel and references a fictional royal cherry blossom party, with poetry reading and dancing. Immerse yourself in the luminous nature-focused works of Matsuo Basho, one of Japan's most renowned poets and writers, with a copy of Basho, the complete haiku. Or try the 2011 Academy Award-nominated documentary The Tsunami and the Cherry Blossom, in which survivors of Japan's most recent tsunami were interviewed a month after the devastation as they begin to rebuild their lives just as the cherry blossom season begins. Are there any alternatives to Japan's main cherry blossom holiday season? Plum blossom, or uemi, are the first important flowers to blossom in the spring, bursting forth in February and March. Hit the Mito Plum Blossom Festival on Honshu for mountains covered in candyfloss blooms and open-air tea ceremonies. It can be reached in 80 minutes from Tokyo Ueno Station on the Super Hitachi Express. Bookending the other side of the cherry blossom are wondrous cascades of wisteria, often formed into tunnels. Go to Ashikaga Flower Park, 80 minutes by Shinkansen train from Tokyo Station, for the Great Wisteria Festival, which runs from mid-April until late May, with the full purple haze occurring in early May. Are there any alternatives to Japan's main cherry blossom holiday season? Plum blossom, or uemi, are the first important flowers to blossom in the spring, bursting forth in February and March. Hit the Mito Plum Blossom Festival on Honshu for mountains covered in candy floss blooms and open-air tea ceremonies. It can be reached in 80 minutes from Tokyo Ueno Station on the Super Hitachi Express. Bookending the other side of the cherry blossom are wondrous cascades of wisteria, often formed into tunnels. Go to Ashikaga Flower Park, 80 minutes by Shinkansen train from Tokyo Station, for the Great Wisteria Festival, which runs from mid-April until late May, with the full purple haze occurring in early May.
Okay, that's it for today. And once again, this is Vanessa. Thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you on my next video.